Hey everyone, my name is Mitchell, and today I'm going to be talking about the transcellular shift. Before we begin, it is important to know that potassium imbalances are the most dangerous of all electrolyte imbalances. This is because too much or too little potassium can change our heart condition and rhythm, and eventually lead to death. Most potassium remains inside the cell as shown in this picture. So most of the potassium shown as K ions are inside the cell. When discussing pH, it is very important to know as hydrogen ions increase, the pH decreases. So it has that inverse relationship. This makes it more acidic. So the more hydrogen ions we have, the more acidic a substance is and the lower the pH is. A higher concentration of hydrogen ions, so as we gain hydrogen ions, the pH decreases and becomes acidic. On the other hand, a lower concentration of hydrogen ions results in a higher pH. So let's say we get rid of these two hydrogen ions shown in this picture right here, and we go to 4 hydrogen ions. So because we are decreasing the amount of hydrogen ions, we are actually increasing the pH, causing it to be more basic. If we add hydrogen ions, so if we add a few more to our blood volume, that would lower the pH because it would become more acidic. So more hydrogen ions would lead to a lower pH. A transcellular shift refers to the movement of electrolytes between the intracellular space and the extracellular space. So we're talking about ions leaving and going into the cell. The most common example, and the one that we will talk about today, involves potassium. Potassium is primarily an intracellular ion, as I said earlier, so small shifts can have big effects on blood levels. The average lab value that you would want to see with potassium is 3.5 to 5, but when we talk about the intracellular potassium, those values would range a lot higher, between 140 and 150, which that just shows how much potassium likes to stay in the cell. On the other hand, the pH of blood is normally 7.35 to 7.45 on the pH scale. So this just shows how narrow of a window we have to maintain a pH that is accurate for our body. The transcellular shift acts as a buffer system for our body, which helps resist changes in our pH. So it resists going below that 7.35 threshold or above that 7.45. This allows hydrogen ions to swap with potassium ions in and out of the cell. So because of this transcellular shift, hydrogen ions can actually go inside the cell, which allows the potassium to leave the cell. So they like to swap. During acidosis, there are too many hydrogen ions in the bloodstream. So potassium will shift out of the cell, allowing hydrogen ions to switch into the cell. So the more hydrogen ions we have, as discussed, the lower the pH and the more acidic it is. And with a lower pH, we would probably go below that 7.35. So it would decrease, which risks body functions. So instead of going below that pH, we would switch those hydrogen ions into that cell. Eventually, too much potassium will spill out, so it acts as a buffer system, but it also can't be a long-term solution because too much potassium will spill out as the hydrogen goes into the cell. As potassium leaves the cell, it's called hyperkalemia, meaning too much potassium in the blood, which has detrimental effects even if the total body potassium is normal. So we're not gaining or losing potassium, we're just changing where it is. And if there's too much in the blood, that's when we can start seeing those cardiac arrhythmias and then eventually death. So the key idea during transcellular shifts is the total amount of fluid or electrolytes in the body does not change, only their location. So it's important to look at lab values because hyperkalemia is also a sign for acidosis because those hydrogen ions may just be hiding inside those cells. I hope you learned something. Thanks so much for listening, and good luck studying.